Okay, we are back. Our next guest is a first-timer on the Rob Dennis Show. So listen to this title, everybody. I'm impressed. Director, not the one that puts the gas in the cars, the director and counselor for New Life Ministries. That's quite a title. And it's the first time on the Rob Dennis Show, so we're going to have a lot to talk about. I think she could spend a lot of time with me. I don't know if she'd want to or not. I don't want to drive her crazy, but you know how that goes. Make her welcome, everybody. Becky Brown, everybody. Hey, ho! Welcome, Becky. First time on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Boy, when you walked in, you went in the green room.
Thank you very much.
What cologne are you wearing?
Jo Malone.
Jo Malone. Well,
Yeah.
you better look out.
Yeah. She's fabulous. It's my favorite.
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So, with that title, what exactly do you do with New Life Ministries?
I am the director of the Counselor Network. We have over 1,000 counselors coast to coast that will help us out with folks that are calling for help. So we have a radio program that's on coast to coast as well. So people will call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find a counselor in their area. But we have a radio program that people call in with whatever their problem might be. And we have a series of hosts that will answer the questions. And then we do weekend workshops all over the country, and we're just trying to help people have a better life.
In your years now, you're on the radio also. Mm-hmm. What was the one that surprised you the most? When they called in, you said, wow, this is something I've not been asked before.
Well, actually, it happened on a time that I wasn't on the air, but we had a man that called us the day that his wife died. She was killed in a car accident, and he was devastated, and he had young children at home and was calling. He had been a longtime listener, but needed support and wanted to know how to help his children as they took the next step in this new adventure of their life. Their life had been forever changed.
Wow. And what age was?
They were
the
all
deceased?
under the age of, his wife was early 30s. They had been married a long enough time. They had, I don't remember exactly what the years they were married, but they had 3 young children. The good news is he called us back a couple of years later and had met another woman, and they were happily married and beginning that next chapter of their life. So it's, sometimes they have really great endings like that. You mentioned Robin Williams before, and there are so many folks that were devastated by his death, by suicide. And so we had a lot of people call, because either someone that they loved had committed suicide or they were struggling with those thoughts as well.
We all think his best friend was
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. And he was talking about him this morning with Matt Lauer. And I got to thinking, they were very close. And you would tend to think, being an outsider not in your business, that he could have done something to help him. But when you're in that state, there must be, and you'll explain it better than me, a wall that your best friend cannot penetrate so that this does not happen.
Right. Suicide is one of the hardest things for people to experience that survive. I'm not talking about the ones that obviously are successful with their suicide. I'm talking about the loved ones. And so for folks like Billy Crystal or his wife, or the folks that many people who just loved Robin Williams, trying to figure out, why does this happen? It's an impulsive act. And some folks who struggle with suicidal thoughts, I just read a blog about this the other day that said that it's almost like an itch, that they're thinking about it and they're focused on it, and it's all over the map as to why people do this. If we knew why, we would do something differently. But when you talk to folks whose loved ones have committed suicide, it's almost offensive to say suicide prevention, because if they could have prevented that, they would have done that. And even Rick Warren, who had a son that committed suicide last year, they had the best of help, and yet they could not prevent it. So it's a struggle. There's a book that I was made aware of years ago when one of my clients was struggling with those, and that they were hospitalized. And it's called How I Survived When My Brain Was Trying to Kill Me.
Oh, wow.
And the author does a great job of describing her experience when she had suicidal thoughts and many attempts, and thankfully she was not successful. But there's a phrase in there that I've used many times, and it says, suicide is a thought, not a feeling. So if you think about, I am thinking of suicide, but my feeling is, and then help folks to describe, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm overwhelmed, I'm depressed, and help them get through the process of understanding what the overwhelming feelings are that they have, it can be helpful. But you know, if anyone is thinking or feeling suicidal, then they should call 1-800-SUICIDE, and there is somebody there that is willing to help and talk with them. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah.
And it's devastating for the survivors. And you know, we're still looking for how to make a change in the mental health field. We're always looking for that, but we don't have real good data to support
Right.
what steps could be taken to prevent.
Now, if I'm got my story straight, we've now discovered that he found out he's suffering from Parkinson's. So now you've got someone who facing terminal illness compared to a person that's just in a deep state of depression who does not have a
Right.
terminal illness.
Right.
In your opinion, which is the easiest that you could probably help them?
Well, there is, I wish there was a way to detect that.
there isn't.
However, we also know that Robin suffered from mental illness for many years. You know, when we think of mental illness, we think of severe depression or things that, you know, can put us in the hospital or we need treatment for. But there's a whole range, you know, when you think about mental health and feelings of well-being, and then the opposite of that. So he struggled with that and had, you know, chemical dependency issues and had been in and out of rehab and had just completed another stay at rehab. So I don't know that there's an easy answer
But
for.
with terminal illness, you know, that kind of compounds all the depression of everything else they have, knowing, wow, this is the end. I don't want to live that way.
Right.
I don't want to go through that. My dad went through that, or his mother,
Right,
whatever. And that probably quickened this idea, I'll just commit suicide. I don't want to have to worry about going through all this suffering. I don't want to live that way. And then compounding all, as you said, all the other mental illness problems.
Right.
It's quite a problem.
Right. And the devastation that has resulted, you know, his wife obviously and his children are experiencing that loss greatly. And they would have been there to support him during that time. And so, you know, I just want to impress on so many people that, you know, if you're having those feelings that you feel overwhelmed with whatever you're dealing with, call someone.
And that number again?
1-800-SUICIDE.
1-800-SUICIDE.
And of course, for us, I would say call 1-800-NEW-LIFE because
Okay.
we have somebody that can help you as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much
You
for
are
coming.
welcome.
I mean, you've answered a lot of questions I had that there is no answer.
Right,
Other
right.
than trying to get help if
That's
it's
right.
possible.
And if someone ever threatens, you know, I want to kill myself, you know, help them. Either call 911 or take them to the nearest emergency room. Call them and talk to them. Don't leave them alone.
Right.
You know, it is sometimes just one of those situations where people just need to have somebody walk them through that day. And, you know, until there's another day.
Right.
And to encourage them. And we can all use a little encouragement. Yeah.
We all get depressed sometimes.
Yeah.
We all need answers.
That's right. That's right.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Yes.
Let's say that.
Yes.
Thanks for coming. I really
Thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me, Rob.
I'd like to have you back sometime.
Okay, I'd be glad to.
Yes.
All right, thanks.